Hello! Hello, 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 hello. I always realise as I turn the camera on and it puts the thing on my face that I haven't brushed my hair/beard. So I think the first thing you guys always get, or those of you on replay, is me brushing my beard. Hi, Mick. Hi, Teutonic Night. How are you both this evening? Oh, wow. Oh, lots. Eldar Blog, hello, hello. Garfield the Fluffy. Is there an Odie the Bald? Or a Nermal the slightly rough? Oh, wow. Big crowd already. Hello, everyone. Zombie Fried Rice. Goddamn, love that name. My admin doesn't like zombies.
No.
Something about the eyes.
Hello, Mick.
You can just, you see,
my arm.
Yeah,
my arm.
The arm. The arm. How is everyone? Good. I infer from silence that everyone is well. Excellent. Hi, Donald. So there was a great thing, and I've obviously got the Discord on the side here. It just as I was getting the camera ready, it just flashed up in the corner. Hits F5 repeatedly, and I'm like, oh, someone's ready. Oh, great to see you all joining me on this late spring evening. It isn't summer. It's late spring. It's pre-solstice. But it's jolly warm here in the UK. Jolly warm and close. And this is the warmest room in the house. And Crimson's got the fan. But that's all right.
Actually, it's pointing between us. I think neither of us have got, and it's not blowing on me. But I am more important, so...
Natch. Yes, I prefer it when the heat cools down. How can heat cool down? It just goes away and becomes less heat. I'm sure there was something in thermodynamics about that, but that was a long time ago. Ha! Moog! Got distracted! Have I posted my recent winter's bat rep? Yes. Have I posted my recent winter's bat rep yet? Yes. The first one for the two went up on Saturday. And there is another one. The one on Saturday was Typhus's attempt to escape from Cormorant after the game I had on Winter's channel, where I clunked him over the back of the head, threw him in a sack, and dragged him off to Cormorant. Which wasn't the sensiblest thing the Drakari have ever done. Yeah, that one was a poor Typhus, poor Cormorant. When he wakes, he's awake. It basically starts off, Typhus comes round and then opens a little teeny port in the middle of Cormorant. Vect wasn't impressed. It was not. It did not go down well. And the game was about whether he managed to escape on that attempt or whether he was subdued on that attempt. His escape, because I do not yet have the power to write him out of canon or turn him into Drakari or have him hooked up to a pain engine. Oh, Typhus in a pain engine. Sounds like the name of a 90s tribute 40k band. Yeah. Since when have the drunk hair done a sensible thing? I prefer drunk hair, Stephen. Since when have the drunk hair? It's easy for you to say. especially with accounts having hair squigs. Accounts? I just glanced at Crimson's laptop, which is trying to log in and still having technical issues.
I think it could be user error.
Problem between keyboard and chair. Yeah. Where's she's gone? Oh, she's gone to get her phone. The phone. It's saying you need to do something with the phone to confirm the thing and the thing. Yeah. Oh wow, Eldar blog, thank you. Coca-Cola sponsorship. Well, I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, and it pains me. It pains me, especially after that incredible generosity that my local supermarket had no cans of caffeine-free Coca-Cola. So I'm drinking caffeine-free Pepsi because the alternative. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still have crates of this one secreted about the house, but for the sleeping, I have to have the caffeine-free in the evening. I feel like such a traitor. But then again, traitors are as traitors do. One person's traitor, another person's stabby night lord. I know. Not the same. Of course, it's not. They're entirely different. Pepsi Max Cherry. It's interesting. A lot of people have Pepsi Max Cherry as their drink of choice. I buy that by the crate because many of my friends, relatives, well-wishers all drink that stuff. So I have that in to protect my stash of Coca-Cola because then they drink that and they don't drink mine. Yes. Okay. So we are 7 minutes in and I'm still driveling. Goes well with JT and Ice. I can well believe it does. She's still having technical issues here.
I'm going to be all right in a minute.
She's going to be all right in a minute. You heard it here first. 1 minute. Mark 7.20. No, that'll take far too long. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Tonight is a ramble about stuff and things. So I've pre-written some stuff and things on a post-it that I intend to ramble about. Then I'm going to jump into the questions on the live stream topics in the members Discord. If you're a member and not in the Discord, check it out. If you like Discords and chats and things. If you're not a member and you like the idea and you want to check it out, become a member. Check it out. Do you see what I did there? Little advert. I really enjoyed the game with Sultan. Okay. So, number one on my post-it of things to ramble about. What have I been up to? Well, it's been quite an exciting few weeks after all of the lockdown of the last 18 months, where the only people I've been able to see are my support bubble. Hello, support bubble.
Hello.
And not that I'm bored of seeing my support bubble, but the problem with just seeing the support bubble is when you even see the people in the support bubble, if people in the support bubble don't play 40k, I don't get to play 40k with anyone else in the support bubble. And if no one in the support bubble plays 40k, the only person to play 40k with is myself. Thoughts on the AdMech Codex? Okay, need to put a pin in that. Yeah, you see, Colin Muir, he's one of the weird people who drinks my cherry Coke because he likes cherry Coke. He's one of the reasons I buy cherry Coke. And he was supposed to come around and play a game, but the miniature Muir had a quick chat with Nurgle and became all plaguey. Which is why why the members got an extra random hobby vlog the other week. Yes, we definitely need to rearrange that, Mr. Muir. So, what have I been up to? Yes, exciting stuff. Thoughts on the AdMech Codex. Right. Need to get that captured somewhere. Thoughts on the AdMech Codex. Be thinking about that. Yes, I will. So, Mr. Winters came up for the day a couple of weeks ago because we can have people visiting inside now, which was great fun. We played. So when I went down to see him, we had two choices for games. There were two things we came up with. One was an Eldari type game, and the other was to have a Titan off, and we went for the Drakari versus Death Guard in the end for a number of reasons. They both had new codices. There wasn't any issue with that codex only having one wound. It kind of ruled out, certainly for playing on Winter's SEO, it ruled out half my Chaos codices because I won't play them with the one rule because it's silly. So we ended up Death Guard versus Drakari, and they're both new codices and all that good stuff. And at some point during the course of events, a bunch of Drakari kidnapped Typhus and took him back to Cormorant. Whoops. So we decided at the end of it, we were saying, oh, Typhus has been captured. And he said, oh, yeah, well, he'll be taking him back to Cormorant is a bad idea. I wonder what's going to happen. And we said, tell you what, let's do that. Let's do that when you come up to visit. So that's the sequel. It's the what happens in A Day of the Life in Cormorant when Typhus regains consciousness. So we did that, but because that was going to be quite a small game, because narratively speaking, Typhus alone in Cormorant, what can he do? So this was the concept behind the game. We said, right, well, it's going to be in a Prophet of the Flesh lab, because that's where they're going to take him. So that means that all the flyers are not going to be around because they're indoors, so that they aren't going to have all the flyers. And none of the mercenaries are going to be around because they've all done their job and been paid and left. So we ended up with, okay, well, what would we have? We'd have any of the Prophets of the Flesh, so Homunculus, Rax, Pain Engines, Cronoses. I don't have a Chronos, so I had to cross that off the list. Grotesques, they'd have been great. Had to cross them off the list. So, right, well, the Cult of the Red Grief and the... what are they called? The Flaying one, the Cabal of the Flayed Skull. They've got. They'll have some troops there because they've got a vested interest because it was a joint endeavor to go and capture the guy. I said, okay. And what can Typhus do? But realistically, Typhus can summon in demons. So I said, right, what have we got between us if we pool our demons together? All right, it's about 650 points. So that's how it ended up being. Typhus goes boom, summons a load of demons, jailbreak. That was great fun. That was great fun to play. Great fun to play. It was one of these sort of really binary. Most of his army was basically Typhus, and most of mine army was basically the Pain Engines. It was like, ooh, how's it going to go? But because it was an objective game, it played a little differently, which was good fun. So the other game that we did that we filmed on the same day that isn't up on the YouTubes yet, which is going up in a few weeks, was it was a return to the aftermath of the Galmec incident. For those of you who are familiar with the Galmec incident in deploymentzone.tv, that was the first campaign we filmed. And so it was a return to that. I won't give away all the plot before you get a chance to see it. Obviously, I won't give away the result, but the general gist is that on the journey into the Star Maelstrom to get to the Demon Forge of Galmec was a long and arduous journey, and we just showed what happened when we got there. This is an episode for what happened on the way back out. So the Imperial forces were refitting and refueling, and they were accosted by a trio of nefarious villains from the Legio Excruciatus, House Commentis, and the Word Bearers themselves. And so it ended up being a 5,000 point game with Winter's 2 Titans, his Reaver and his Warhound, versus my Warhound Titan, my Chaos Knight Lance, and all my Demon Engines and Dreadnoughts from the Word Bearers. And it was just an almighty pagger. And it was great fun. It was great fun. You have moments where, you know, oh no! And sort of shield holes, Oh, I was meant to be dead. There were lots of great moments like that. And yeah, it feels like I'm charging it and hitting it with a herring. It's just one big foot. I feel like an Ewok sitting on the foot of a Scout Walker, hitting it with a stone mallet. So that was great fun. So that was a few weeks back. Then last weekend, Sultan came up and he stayed the weekend. And so we did a campaign, and the members have seen the first episode of this now. Second episode will go up this Sunday. Of a campaign we're calling the Medusan Hive. And that's not a hive on a Medusa. It's effectively an artifact of the Gorgon. It's a nanite hive that has bizarre properties that are hitherto rumored and not certain. And we are both searching for this artifact in Imperium Nihilus. Sultan brought his AdMech with his first use of the new AdMech book and my first experience of it. And I bought my my Iron Warriors. I've been feverishly painting Iron Warriors the last few weeks to bolster my troops, because when I first painted them, it was for a game with Winters a few years ago, and I only got as far as building a spearhead detachment, so I didn't have very many troops in it. So what I wanted to do was to build up the breacher element of the Iron Warriors force, because they've got the different elements in the Iron Warriors forces. Generally, it splits into the ones who are super cowardly, who just shell fortifications from a whole way away, and the ones who are absolutely out of their smegging trees, who storm through the breach. So I wanted to build up the out of tree bit to have more. To have more. And so I did that. It was funny because on the Thursday night we spoke on the phone. I'll come back to that. There's a weird thing to ramble about there. We spoke about that. I spoke about it on the phone. And we said, yeah, the first game we'll have will be where we're both trying to get a foothold on the same planet. We're like, okay, great. 1,000 bucks. Yeah. And we agreed. We discussed the other games, and we said, right, let's make some lists that we can then tweak at the time if we need to. And so, as I did with most of my lists, I made it at the end of the day whilst I was in bed before I went to sleep. So it was about 11:30, 11:45, and I'm like, right, this list, yeah, that'd be fine. This list, that'd be fine. And then I got to my breaches list, because one of the lists is focused around assaulting a fortification once it had been opened up. Didn't need much opening up. It was kind of open plan to begin with. So it was about assaulting a fortification. And I put all the units in. And, hang on. USB device connected to the computer is malfunctioning. Can you guys still see and hear me? Could someone just tell me if you can still see and or hear me, please? Yes, you can. Thank you, Wiggles. So I did this list. And I thought, right, I got 2 rhinos full of Marines in with chainswords, with melter guns, flamers, power fists, all that good stuff. And I'm like, right, okay, they're in rhinos, driving in. Yeah, great. What can go in with them? Right, well, okay, so I want a tank. So the tank can drive along with them, keep pace. Yeah, and I just painted a unit of bikes. They were the last thing I painted, and I pushed to get them done on the Wednesday night. So I got those done. I'm like, yes, they can go alongside. Like, I need an HQ. So, right, well, I can't really have the Tech Marine because most of the tanks and dreadnoughts and everything elsewhere. The only other choice I've got is the Warsmith. Now, the Warsmith isn't a brawler. He's an absolute nutter. And, he's the opposite of an absolute nutter. He's cold, calculating, and he just wouldn't go anywhere near danger. So I thought, I can't do it. I can't do this list. I haven't got a character. So I got out of bed, went into my the bits room, kit bashed together a character to use as an exalted champion, got up early the next day, sprayed it before breakfast, had a shower, painted it before work. Then whilst it was drying over the morning, I then highlighted it and basted it at lunchtime so it was ready, because I knew that Sultan was going to arrive at tea time and we'd crack straight on. So yeah, that was the shortest inception through to completed model ever. He had an interesting time of it. Now, this question from Teutonic Knight I'm going to answer now. I don't know if you've written it down yet. You're about to write it down. Because I did see a comment around that a little while ago. It's interesting because if you read Betrayer by... who's it by? It's a Black Library book. It's a Horus Heresy Black Library book. No. Ignore me. Betrayer is one of my favourite books. But if you read Angel Exterminatus, which is one of the Black Library books, one of the Iron Warriors characters, one of the brawlers, one of the breacher class, he starts to lose it in the fight, and he hears the whispering of Khorne. So I haven't considered using Khorne Berserker rules to represent the breachers, because I think Khorne Berserkers are very, they're made by the butcher's nails. So I think it would have felt wrong, but I did consider giving them the Mark of Khorne, and I didn't in the end, because this is just an idle thought at this point, but this warband is quite early on its chaos corruption trajectory. They're mostly normal legionaries who still shun corruption and mutation. I don't have demon engines. There's a little bit of corruption creeping in with the Warpsmith being a bit Warpsmithy and the Obliterators being what they are. And I thought what I could do is, if I'm going to do a campaign based around them in future, part of that I could explore the decline of the Breacher Company towards Khornehood. So I thought I'd save that little nugget for later on, because I also like the idea of using. There's a stratagem in the Chaos Codex which lets you beseech a particular god. So a unit that doesn't have a Mark of Chaos can get one. It's a command point. And I sort of thought maybe that could be something I could use for in a particular scenario. If one of the units gets sort of Khorne touched, they're not necessarily worshipping Khorne, but he's paying a close interest in what they're doing and goes, dink. And then, a couple of command points for temporarily giving them the Mark of Khorne, then using the stratagem to fight again, and so on. I thought that could be quite cool. So that was what I decided to do. Whether or not that came up in games 2 and 3, I won't disclose, or game 1 if you've not seen game 1. So yeah, I have thought of it. Storm of Iron, the novel Storm of Iron, essentially devolved into Berserkers. Interesting. Let me write Storm of Iron down for my own personal purposes. Admin's got the pen. Thank you. Storm of Iron.
I could have spelt that.
Probably. But we can't be certain. Okay. I'll see if I can get hold of that. That'd be quite interesting. I haven't listened to much Iron Warriors stuff other than the Angel Exterminatus. So that'd be good. So yeah, it was an insane schedule, because it was really weird, because Sultan arrived on a Friday night, and he's a great chap. We had a lot of fun. But it's this strange phenomenon that I don't know if many people will ever really experience this, because he'd seen me on the interwebs a lot, so he kind of felt like he knew me, which I guess you guys are probably familiar with. Although I've never met or spoken to most of you, you'll probably, you'll have some kind of knowing me going on. Because I've seen him on Deployment Zone and it's every Games with Winters, I sort of felt the same. So it was really weird meeting for the first time. It felt like we knew each other, but we'd never met before. It was really strange. So we spent the first couple of hours just gibbering about everything. We were like, yeah, we really should do a game. like quickly. We didn't start playing till about 10:30 on Friday night. So we finished that game in the small hours of the morning. It's like, oh man, we've got 2 to get through tomorrow. So we got up and we basically said, so you want a drink? He said, yeah, coffee, black coffee. I'm like, right, okay. I need at least 3 or 4 cans of Coke before I'm functional. And they were like, oh, what were we doing with game 2? Those of you who've seen game 1 will know that our ability to brain think really did go down towards the end, for which I apologize, but it's kind of what you expect, I guess. So that was really good. The way the campaign ended gives us potential options to do something that spins off it the next time we get together, or to do something vaguely related, or something entirely other. We did have some discussion about doing something Death Watch related. I said to him, no, if we're doing Death Watch, I want to do some Death Watch against Necrons. So we've got that in the back burner for when I eventually get around to painting the Necron. Man, this is a whole shelf to get around to painting the Necrons. Oh, look, my ad mech. Adeptus Mechnus. Oh, and my nail clippers for some bizarre reason. I don't know what they're doing there. So yes, that was good. What else was quite interesting was after the started to get some feedback on the video with Winters and on the stuff with Sultan is you get a sort of weird dichotomy of that's the wrong word. You get quite a variation of people saying, do you know what? I really liked that stuff. The banter was great. Can we have more banter, please? And you get other people saying, I wish it was Solo Hammer. I really like the Solo Hammer. It's more sort of immersive. And some people saying, well, do you think you could actually edit the videos properly and cut out the blank spaces and the waffle and stuff? Because I'd like to watch more of them, but I just can't get through them. And it's interesting in that to change one thing would be to I guess it's sort of like the politician's dilemma. You if you favor one thing, you please the people you favor, but you anger everyone else. So the thing that drives me to do things the way I do them is around it's a number of things. It's around the ease of it's the post-production ease. It's the ease of editing. It's I like it feels like you're having you're joining me for a game in the garage, and you see all of the bits that you wouldn't normally see when you're in your mates. You're going, is that how it works? I reckon that's how it works. Is it a 4 or a 3? I tell you, it's a 3. I'm telling you. It's like, no, it's a 4. Oh, it's a 5. So I think the thing I've concluded is it's very difficult to come up with a formula that everyone's going to like, and to try and do that, I think I run the risk of producing content that I don't want to produce and that I don't like. Well, not so much that I don't like it, but I'm deviating so far away from what interests me most that I end up getting a little bit bored with it or frustrated with it. And I know you guys in the chat, you're all being very, very kind, and you're all saying how much you like it and you enjoy it. You guys are all biased. If you weren't channel members, you really wouldn't be. If you didn't all like it, you wouldn't be channel members. No, Stephen, we weren't arguing over whether he wounded me or not. That whole thing was because I wanted to make a tiny petty point about knowing one of the rules better than he did, and that's just me being a bit of a prat. It was like, yeah, it's a 3. And I'm like, yes, it is a 3, but it wouldn't have been a 3 if you were strength 8. What do you mean? Well, and so it carries on. There's always waffling. What are you trying to say, admin? There's always sneezing as well in this kind of weather. Only 3, that's a record.
It's pouring from the hot tub.
I've been doing it all day. The pollen out there, it's thick. I sat to try and eat my lunch outside. I had to come in. It was, it doesn't normally make my eyes run, but it was today. One moment. Oh, wow. 2 people left at the sight of seeing me blow my nose. Screw those guys. She's got her head in her hands. I know. A little bit like the look Winters gave me when I put the camera down on the table and I hadn't stopped it just so I could pick up the dice. He looked at me like I just scraped something off. Something I was scraped off his shoe. And then halfway through, he got sort of, I'm really conscious about what I'm saying now because I know you're not editing anything. And then he worked out that if he said rude words, I'd have to delete it and start again. We lost about 20 minutes where as soon as I turned the camera on, he'd say things like, bum! And I'd have to turn it back off again. So, and now we have to do that again. Hat boy. Yeah. So, so I'm sticking to what I do because whilst I have to think about the scenarios and the setup and think about the rules, I don't have to think about what to say. And thinking is very difficult for me. Moog, you say just bleep him out. You assume I know how the tech works, or I spend more than 5 minutes editing things together. That's the point. The editing, I'd finished editing the videos before he'd got home. I use an app called... That's not it. That's an alarm. I use an app called UCut Video Editor. And it literally, I open a file and then it lays them all out in order. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Edit. And then it compiles it for me. It's great. So I'm sticking with not having to concentrate on what I'm going. Basically, I'm just me in front of the camera, and I am kind of like this all the time. She's laughing because it's true. She's now nodding in a sort of, yes, he is kind of way. Yes, he is. So that's what I've been up to, and talking about the new campaign with Sultan. That was a lot of fun, and the Winters videos, and the style of filming versus banter. And so that's the stuff I had preloaded to ramble about. So I'm going to eject the. Oh god, I didn't even. So zombie fried rice. Him coming up from behind the table. I had no idea he was going to do that. I just sort of pointed the camera and then he just sort of got on the floor and I'm like, what are you doing? And he just took his head back up and said, just start, it'll be great. Okay. Welcome to the channel. Today there's a strange man hiding behind my table. It was Winters is like that. He's like that all the time. There's normally, he said to me once, one of the battle reports that we filmed, he said there were over 5 hours of footage that he had to cut down to 2 hours. And it's all the banter that ends up on the cutting room floor. It is. But that's my thing. I just film them as they all happen. And if the video takes 5 hours, it takes 5 hours. Have I done a 5-hour video? I did a 4-hour video. Have I done a 5-hour video? Oh, I think the Orcs versus Eldar finale might have been a 5-hour video. Yeah. Oh, that took that. That exercised the brain cells. Oh, right. Let's have some of the questions from the chat. My wrist's doing a weird, funny thing. It needs to click, and it's not cooperating. Ow. Right, what we got? Did you guys see the Mark II Marine? Is that from Teutonic Knight? Is that the Bandai one, the sort of big foot tall one? Saw it. The pre-painted ones look a little bit too plasticky. The plain grey ones look quite interesting. If you can paint those yourself. I have got Forge World did a few years ago a Marine about that big that I was bought as a present for being someone's best man. That was Storm Shroud off Fast Panda Gaming on YouTube. If you like Infinity, check him out. They're a great channel. He bought me that for being his best man. It is sadly still in the box and not painted. But yeah, I've seen that. I've got, and this is the reason that Marine still isn't painted. I have so many things to paint. I don't end up painting things that was. Oh no! It's the one in Mark II Power Armor in Argotal's hands. No, I didn't pay that much. I didn't notice that. What did I think of the new Argotal model? I saw it and thought, must own. It's a shame that I don't play 30k from that perspective. I mean, you could just use him as a Demon Prince model, but that's the kind of model I would just want to buy just to own it. But that is true of many of the Horus Heresy models. I think so many of them are absolutely gorgeous. And if I didn't have 46 armies I'm in the middle of painting, I would probably be buying some of those models to do as ornamental pieces.
And a bigger house.
And a bigger house. There's still space to expand. We don't need a living room. I don't need a living room.
Yes, we do.
In the kitchen. There's so much space out there for more sheds. We're sorted. So yeah, I thought that was a lovely model. I really like it. There are loads of those. I'd like to have Lorgar. I think that's a really nice model. It's not the most heroic pose or the most dynamic or the most sort of hero pose, impressive type one. It's just dark and sinister. Like there's something you know that guy standing there acting like that has got something to him. So I really like that. I really like that. Shed Master. Build an extension. I need many, many more channel members before I can build an extension.
No,
if I need an extension, I've got to have at least another 4,000 channel members. So you sort it, I'll extend it. Planning permission notwithstanding. Okay. Right, what else we got? These? Okay. Ooh. The mid-game bickering with Winters was hilarious. Yeah. It's all his fault. All his fault. He started it all. Yeah, it's Winters is. You know what it's like when you've got that sort of that one mate who entirely you click together when you play. You're very similar in the way you game when you just bounce off each other. Or we get that kind of vibe. So he's tremendous fun to play against and with. And when you're doing campaigns and things, he always wants it to be interactive and two-way, and it's really good because when you get two similar minds bouncing ideas off each other, you're like, yeah. So, for example, the Titan game I alluded to earlier, when he came, we hadn't actually. I just said, "Bring the Titans." I've got a great idea. So we brought his Titans, and we said, "I said, right, this is the idea for the story." He's like, "Yeah, love it. Maybe the starport's just over here, and I'm blockading it." I'm like, beautiful. They said, "Right, how are we going to do how are we going to represent victory?" And we just sort of chatted over, well, Are we holding objectives? Are we trying to get... oh, Mick. Oh, man, thank you, bud. It's...
We love Mick. I've seen Mick's comments. He got a little heart on.
Ah, right. Mick's got a little heart.
Little heart for
Yeah, a
Mick.
little heart for Mick.
Love him.
Mick's one of the Discord moderators. If you guys want more Mick, join the Discord. So I'm pimping you out. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So we chewed around the idea of how we were going to represent the fight. It's like, oh, do we want to try and get things past them? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? And then we had a was it a coffee break? It wasn't really a coffee break. I had to go and sort something with Lemmy, and he had to go and wash the Titans down in the garden. I've got a picture of bits of Titan on the lawn, and he sat there with a tiny brush and cleaning the Titans. I came back afterwards and said, yeah, I like this idea. And I'm like, spot on. We agree. So that's really cool. Mick is, let me get the name right. Sergeant Lexicus 1982 is Mick in Discord. You've been outed, Mick. Okay. Mr. Squawk, what are my thoughts on the new AdMech Codex? Ouch! No, what are my thoughts on the new AdMech Codex? Some of it I really like. Some of it I really like. I like the way they're differentiated between the Skitarii and the Cult Mechanicus. I like the fact there are Skitarii characters now, and you can have a Skitarii army because they are the army of the AdMech. The other things like the Castellan robots and the servitors, they are constructs. They're things that are created. Then I see those as elite. I see those as add-ons, specific things that are deployed at a given moment in time. They're not the backbone of the armies. The backbone of the Adeptus Mechanicus army is the Skitarii. So I like the fact you can have Skitarii characters. I also really like the fact that they differentiate substantially between Cult Mechanicus and the Canticles of the Omnissiah and the doctrines for the Skitarii. I like that. I like the fact you can reprogram the soldiers like that, or each turn, so like that. As long as you do that at the point of the turn to change. And I like the fact that the Cult Mechanicus can sing different prayers. They're more religious. I like that. All of this core keyword malarkey is not my thing. I think it's an additional level of complexity that's aimed at a style of play that I don't particularly lean towards. So I'm not keen on it. It's going to mean more looking up of things for me, because when I do Solo Hammer, and I have noticed the question in the thing, which is now being put in front of me, just to illustrate that the paper's being used, I think, because I think you knew I was about to read it off the screen. No. Very, very astute. Am I going to keep doing Solo Hammer even though the restrictions are easing? Absolutely. What I have come to realize over the last week is Solo Hammer is very, very, very different. It's a different experience. It's a different offering to playing against an opponent. I do much more description of what's going on. I can completely tailor the scenario to a story, and because I am playing both sides, it means that I will think about how things are going to play and then play both sides to try and win. But I will have thought out the scenario. Playing against other people, you're much more. I'm only looking at half of it and reacting. It's much more of a game. So yes, I'm absolutely still going to do them. How the balance ends up being, what I don't know is what I have struggled with all the way through is knowing how much and what to put on public YouTube and how much and what to put in the members lounge, the channel members, because there's loads of great stuff in the members lounge, if I do say so myself. I get very good feedback for it. But what I don't know is how to make people know it's there. And the same is true with playing against an opponent. That's a lot more of that's banter and so on. So what do I? And plus the fact that I've taken to doing things in little mini vignettes, even if they are with another person, to do a few of these that kind of tie together. So it's difficult to know which way to lean in which side. Have I ever thought of playing Space Hulk on camera? It's one of a dozen games I've got that I would love to play on camera. I just need the time. I just need the time because I've got it's that dichotomy, isn't it? It's putting enough stuff out on the public YouTube for people to enjoy and to get new people coming to the channel and subscribing, which is awesome. But that also then helps getting new people into the members lounge, which is also awesome and helps me towards my dream of world domination. My dream of the first step towards world domination, which is becoming a professional Warhammer player or a professional war gamer or a professional Paul. That's what I want to be. I want to be a professional Paul. But yeah, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it. So I'm not just all in it for the Paul side of things, for the Paul profession. But that, so it's trying to work out how to balance what I want to produce and what people want, and because the styles are very different. It's not just the styles are different; it's the armies that are different as well. I think the most things that have surprised me is some of the games that have had the most views are the ones of the Imperial Guard, which I found very, very surprising. I did not expect that at all. And interestingly, I've got an Imperial Guard campaign. Well, it's a Guard and Ultramarine campaign on the go at the moment, for which I've been painting stuff this week. That was also on the list of things that I've been doing that I forgot. I've been painting World Eater vehicles. I've been painting a couple of Rhinos and a Predator to add to my World Eaters. And you can probably hear me ruffling with this piece of paper. I just want to put it down. I've been painting vehicles for the next game, and I've been stripping and reassembling more Guard units. And I need to film both those games in like 10 days' time, and I've got like 50 miniatures on the table, and I'm like, oh man, I'm never getting all these done. I'm gonna have to pick which ones, which is sad, but do I think Solo Hammer has helped with my strategic thinking? No, because when I played against Winters, and I'm like, right, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other. Great. And then in his first turn, he moved a unit. And I'm like, have you put that there just to stop me deep striking? He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you playing the game? It's like, yes, Paul, I'm playing the game. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't happen when I play against myself. It's like, yes, Paul, I'm playing the game. And I'm like, of course you are. Everyone plays the game, don't they? It's like, yes, Paul. All right, to be playing against myself for too long. Yes, Paul. Okay. No, not are you playing the game, but one of the things I do very specifically is since 8th ed, Oh, you'll hear the rustling of the paper. Got you. Since 8th ed, I've always been very mindful. Back in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, if you bring something in reserve, you could bring it in close to your opponent in a tiny gap, but there was a big risk in doing it. Deep strike mishaps where the models could get lost, or there could be an explosion and so on. In 8th ed, the whole 9 inches away thing, it completely removes that sort of you might hit a rock and explode element, but it means you can never take that gamble. It means that actually by just moving a model a few inches further forward, you can prevent your opponent from deep striking. People often refer to it as deep strike denial. I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I've done it on occasion, but it's either been where I've been really stretched or where I thought it made narrative sense to have some kind of rear guard, not in a different scenario. I mean, there might be instances where I have, and it's probably something I've done unconsciously if it is. Or it will have been in the last episode of The Death of Hope where I was really trying very hard to win. But that's a different story. And I find it quite an unnarrative thing to do. So it's something that I deliberately don't do when I'm playing, that I had a sort of, oh, yes, of course, people do this. This is part of the game when I was playing against Winters. So, yeah, that's what I mean when I said, Winters, are you playing the game? It's like, yeah. Oh, I remember now. I remember what this is like. It's like, yeah, I don't want you in my back passage. That is what he says. One moment. I had a bit of paper. You took it off me. What am I reading out now? Both sides of this one. So yes, I like a lot of the Admech Codex. I like a lot of the things in there. I think there's a lot of real narrative flavor in there. I also think there is a lot of complexity. So, for example, when Sultan and I were playing, it was his first game on. Don't encourage him. It was his first game with the new Admech Codex, and what we were doing was what I always do, and it's sort of, he said, "Oh, that's a good idea." I rifle through the card deck and pull out all the stratagems that I can possibly use with the army I've got. And he pulled out this one and said, "Oh, I probably don't need this." And it was, what was it? It was arc grenades. And I said, "Well, you might. Which units have got the arc grenade keyword? Because the way that's worded is any unit with that keyword can use an arc grenade." I was like, "Oh, okay." It probably took us about 10, 15 minutes to find which unit was an arc grenade unit, and it was just one. And it was like, okay, so really the stratagem could have said, when a Patraxi something or other unit fly, then you can use an arc grenade. But it didn't. It said if you've got the arc grenade keyword, and yes, that's future-proof, so if they add any other new units in future, but it made it really blinking difficult to actually relate the things in the stratagems and on the rules back to the units. Really very difficult. And I find that very frustrating. And I see that a lot in the newer codices. So that's not something I'm a big fan of. That isn't unique to the Admech Codex, but it is prevalent in the new codices. So, all right, what's on this? Ares Mafia. Do you own Khan? If yes, what rules would you like him to get in the Chaos book? If no, will you ever get him? Khan is sat on my painting desk as we speak. He is made of metal, and he's got lots and lots of pins in him. It's the original Khan the Betrayer. I absolutely love that model. She's watching my hands like a hawk to see if I'm fiddling with the paper, and she's going to take it off me. What rules would you like him to get in the Chaos book? I just want him to be someone who loses his stuff. I like it when he hacks his own men to death. As long as they keep that, I'm fairly happy. Because he does not care from where the blood flows, only that it flows. Hit me. Okay, Mick. See, she's drawn a little heart on it. Galmec was a great campaign. I'd love to see them do something similar. So yeah, the Titan fight that Winters and I just had, we sort of said afterwards, there are all sorts of all right, Moog, give me some choices. Moog wants to know what to paint next. There are all sorts of opportunities for follow-up games, because the Crusade back out will have taken decades, as long as it took to go into Galmec and fight the fight. So there are lots of opportunities for us to do other vignettes of games in that setting, and it may be it's one of these things, right? Because Winters and I We don't get together very frequently because of more word bearers. More word bearers, Moog. I think you said you had some possessed. Paint those. More possessed. More possessed. So yeah, I like oh, my brain just crashed. What was I doing?
You're reading now.
Reading this. Galmet was a great campaign. I'd love to see them do something similar. Yes. There's opportunity. That's what I was going to say. There's plenty of opportunity there. But the thing is, we'll want to do campaigns for my channel. We'll want to do campaigns and things for Deployment Zone and for Winter's SEO. And it's working out what to do first and in what order and how best to do that. And yeah, he's got a holiday coming up, and after his holiday, we're going to try and work out what we can do next. So yes, I would love to do more stuff there. Samurai one day more. I need to figure out what to get for my guard and chaos. Any suggestions? Well, what I've just done is I've just assembled a load of Ogrins, a load of weapons teams, and a load of officers and veterans for my guard. So I think those are okay, Chris. I think those are things that I do for guard. Put in what flavor of chaos. She's changed her name to Chris. Put in what flavor of chaos you're doing, and I'll have a think. Mick Lee, how do you list up pen and paper, Battlescribe, or that stupid GW app? Lol. I use the stupid GW app, and that's for a couple of reasons. The list builder is actually really good. I really like it. There's a lot of functionality it doesn't have that Battlescribe does, but because of the way I play my games and because I am narrative focused, I don't really give a hoot about all the points being exactly right. I don't have to try and balance them, except when I'm playing a pickup game against a friend. I don't have to try and get it all balanced. In fact, a lot of the time I'll look at it and go, this side needs more because the codex is just dire. So, for example, in some games where I've boosted up the wounds of the Chaos Space Marines, I won't do anything to offset that against someone with a newer codex because it kind of balances things out in their favor a little bit to make the game a little not more balanced. I don't aim for the game to be balanced, but it needs to be able to represent the narrative. And Space Marines falling over when you breathe at them just doesn't represent the narrative. As far as I say, achoo! No. Going for Emperor's Children. Well, Emperor's Children. Noise Marines cultists are quite good because they'll just herd those nutters across the battlefield and they'll enjoy it as well. My Emperor's Children have got quite a demon leaning. I think they're quite good. Mixing them up with Slaanesh demons, I quite like. Slaanesh, Emperor's Children, they've got a lot of focus on close combat and fighting with swords. So Raptors are quite a good unit for Emperor's Children and Marines with swords to get up close and personal. They've got some lovely stratagems like Honor the Prince and other ones whose name I can't remember, but they're really nice to get up close and personal with. So that's what I've been doing. So the GW app, despite the fact that the points are quite wrong in a lot of cases, I actually find it really easy to build lists from. So I'm sticking with the stupid GW app for now. If I need to do anything properly, I'll go to Battlescribe. I used to be on pen and paper, but that's back in the era of 4th and 5th ed when things changed every 3 or 4 years and I could keep it all in my head and I'd just be able to sit and write a list and pick up the book occasionally. Things change every 40 minutes now. And I have far more armies than I had back then. I probably had about 8 to 10 back then, and I knew them all inside out because they hadn't changed for 3 or 4 years each. And I used to play 3, 4, 5 games a week. Not now, though. Chris says, I'm hoping to start my kill team campaign next month. Next month. Month? Month? It says month. MANTH, month. Okay, got it. So you're kill teaming guard and chaos. Nice. Yes, in which case I think cultists and marines with swords are a good way to go with chaos. And I think, if I remember rightly, it's been quite a while since I looked at kill team. I think you could do a nice veterans squad guard with an LT and maybe something like a commissar leading them for quite a round number of points. I thought that was quite nice. Quite nice. Yeah. Any more? Oh, loads more. You guys have been doing great. And you're doing great. Everyone's doing great. From Adrian Smart. Hi, Paul. Greetings once more from Canada. Loving the back reps and really appreciate the narrative focus of your work. Oh, thank you. What's your favorite second founding chapter and why is it the Black Templars? Why is it the Black Templars? It's funny you should mention Black Templars because I think it's in my pocket. Yeah, it is. So someone who shall remain nameless but is sat in this room bought me this for Christmas. This is my face mask, which I wear everywhere outside. And it's the Black Templar. Woo. Which means I've had to buy myself some Black Templars. So I've got a Black Templar expansion box downstairs somewhere. And this is another of the armies that's gone on the list. So I'm going to do a Land Raider Crusader and a Crusade Squad and a Chaplain. Boom. Army. Done. What is my favorite second founding chapter, though? It's nothing I've ever really given much thought. I'm pretty much a first founding kind of guy. I do like the Black Templars because they're absolutely nuts. It's interesting that the Sons of Dawn got very disparate second founding chapters, but a lot of the other chapters followed quite closely the pattern of the parent chapter. I don't know. I will have to ponder on this. Maybe I need to look at a list of second founding chapters. Maybe that's one to return to. There were a few others to return to. There was one on Necrons, on Harlequins a few weeks ago, and there's one on Grey Knights. I'll put this in the pile of things to think about. Aaron, 582 Railways? What are your thoughts about the Argotor model, and do you have any plans to get it? We've touched upon this. I love that model. I couldn't see his stolen Guardian Spear, so it predates the point at which he stole that spear. It possibly predates Istvan, which interesting. But the model's gorgeous, and I really want to get it. I don't know whether I will because I'm not really getting much of standalone models at the moment, but it's so tempting. Have you considered doing painting hobby streams? Ramble while you paint. I've considered it. Crimson has suggested it. It takes a bit more planning. I have to move the kit into a different room, and I can't really paint whilst I ramble. I won't paint. I have a very, very mono-track brain. I can do one thing or another. I cannot do both. And I'll probably have like super anxiety at the silent moments. So I don't know. It's definitely something we've discussed. I don't know if there's. One thing I don't know is obviously there is interest in it. I mean, you guys calling it out at me, so there's definitely interest in it. I don't know if there's a huge amount of interest in it. I guess the only way to know is to try, which I guess it kind of depends on your availability and stuff as well, doesn't it? Because the idea we thought we'd have is that I could be showing Crimson how to paint her models and doing a bit of my own at the same time. And if we could get the camera set up so it was sort of pointing at the painting that was going on, all great ideas. It's just not something we've got that far with. Oh, you've resorted to Post-its. You've run out of paper.
I have.
Okie
I
doke.
don't know whether you'd seen that one that was from John.
If you ever know...
Still up there, look.
John Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever need more Imperial Guard for the blessed YouTube algorithm, I may know where a bunch of old school Mordians are. John Phillips. Are you Mordian John? Or is that just an amazing coincidence?
It's hiding now.
Yeah, it's run away.
Run away.
Well, I'd love to do a dozen different guard regiments. And in fact, I bought... hey, here's Mordian John.
Yes, he's replying, yes.
Mordian John of Deployment Zone TV fame. Love your armies, man. They look absolutely amazing. I've got... When I purchased someone's secondhand guard army, which part of which is what I've been stripping down, I found when I was leafing through all the bits, there's like a box of metal Catachans, there's a box of metal Mordians, there's metal Valhallans and so on. I like the idea of doing lots of different regiments. At the moment, it fits what I'm doing to model them all as Cadians. And the chap I bought them off, he sort of kit bashed all sorts of different kits together. He wanted a really sort of rugged look to everything, a sort of more real look. At the moment, because I'm looking at Ultramar, and then I want to do something generic later on, if I ever get round to it. I will get round to it. It's just getting around to having the time and money to get round to it. But I want to do a generic guard in Cadian colours so I can use them as generic PDF on any planet for narrative purposes. So I'm probably sticking with the Cadian sculpts for now. Oh, thanks, man. I lost a bit of love for them for a while, but I'm enjoying them more and more as I'm playing them again. Yeah, and I'm enjoying playing them at the moment. I like listening to things like Gaunt's Ghosts and Caiaphas Cain and the odd sort of random guard book. The guard should be... I feel like the guard should be more front and center in 40k narrative, and I feel like cults, chaos cults specifically, should be more front and center in the game because they are front and center in almost every narrative because they are the biggest single source of enemyage that the vast majority of the Imperium fight against. So yeah, they're noticeable by their absence. So I really want GW to do some kind of traitor guard army.
That's for the end.
These are for the end.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, speaking of the end, we've gone on just over an hour, so I think we haven't actually got onto anything in the live stream topics today. So that's good in a sense that they're all still going to be there for next time, which is great. You guys have done really well at feeding questions through today. Sometimes it's a little bit quieter, so I shall save all of these for when it's a little bit quieter. Now, I know the next question is... what's next week's topic's going to be? What is next week's? That's easy for you to say. I haven't decided yet, but I will decide at some point. When will you join us on a Monday night for Hobby Time chat? If I Hobby Time chatted on a Monday night, I would not be able to paint anything. Now, Monday night is a busy night for me, unfortunately, so I don't get much opportunity. I do keep trying, but it hasn't happened yet. It might at some point. I hope so, but not so far, unfortunately. That's something else that the guys in the Discord do for anyone who either isn't in the Discord or isn't a channel member. The guys often meet up on Discord chat regularly, just sit and paint and talk hobby together, which is kind of nice and chill, which is cool. Right, so I am going to roll it up there. If there's anything that we've missed in the unfortunately, Moog, almost every night of the week is very busy, and I don't get to do much hobby. No, seriously, I never know what I'm doing on a Sunday night. Tuesday nights I do this. On Monday, I do all my food shopping and I cook for the week on Monday night. And I don't always get to paint afterwards. I'm sometimes too brain dead. Wednesday is when I tend to try and paint, but sometimes there are other things that I have to do. And Thursday night is when I build the boards for Friday night. So don't base it around me is
But
definitely
you're
what
off
I'm
soon,
saying.
aren't you?
I am off soon
You're
for a
off
few
soon.
weeks, so I will
So you
definitely
could
try and
join.
jump in on as many of those as I can.
Yeah.
On as many of those as I can.
Because it won't matter then, will it?
No, it absolutely won't. But at the minute, it's just it's not unlikely, but it's at any given time that there are so many things that might get in the way. I really wouldn't want you to move it around for me. Crimson, I'm a fantastic cook. Thank you. We are in danger of devolving into cookery conversation. I do all sorts.
You do a good curry.
I do all sorts. I have a number of very good cookbooks, and I know how to follow instructions. But my thing is, at the moment, I'm working my way through the Hairy Dieters cookbook, which is very good. And most of those meals are for 4 or 6 people. So I make one of them on a Monday night and keep it in the fridge and have a bit each night. Sees me through the week, and that's helping shed some of the pounds. So there you go. So what I'm saying is more people sub so I can afford to go pro. Yeah. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It's very much a dream, but it'd be nice. Right. I know what I'm like, and I could ramble for another hour and a half about virtually nothing. Just a couple of things to end on. A couple of big thank yous. Eldar Blog, thank you very much for the Coke sponsorship. Whilst I was putting a can of Pepsi to my lips, that was embarrassing and amusing. And Mick, thank you for funding the extension. So thank you all very much for joining me, and I will see you next week for the next one. I hope, I hope you're able to join me next week. There will be another one next week. All right, bye for now, folks. Bye. Bye.